How you doing? Today's a new day. I welcome all of you here. Mikey Yo-Yo, you brought up a nice subject. I don't think about some things when I'm working on these saws. You notice the clamshell design on them Macs. Well, here's another one, Duncan. Here's your saw. That's a big old thing, ain't it? Uh, you could see that this is a steel 192T that I'm doing for Duncan from Washington. See, that's the bottom half of the engine right there and the crank. They actually put a billet rod in these. I was dumbfounded when I seen it. I've never had one of these apart before. But they did just the cutest little thing. Uh, I'm going to tell you something. Reminds me when I was a little boy. My Somebody got my dad a razor back in the late '60s, and it was an electric razor. And he'd never had one before. Well, he was a pretty open-minded fella, you know. He was a pilot, amongst other things. He owned a couple warbirds, and maybe someday I'll show you some pictures. And he was a good pilot. It I really liked it. Boy, I tell you what, them old radial engines used to scare the crap out of me as a little fella. He'd start them. Ma'd have a hold of me, make sure I didn't run into something that was spinning, you know. And man, they just shook and they shake and they made noise and they smoked, and it'd scare me terrible. Well, them old tail draggers from Korean War and World War II, when you're sitting on Daddy's lap and you're going down a runway, I'm gonna tell you something. You don't see none forward. I have a lot of respect for them pilots of those airplanes. That motor was big. I mean, big in them. And to be able to take off by just looking off to one side is amazing. It ain't till that tail comes up all of a sudden you know where you're going. But you know what freedom is? Freedom's flying. You're not attached to the ground. I got into motocross at a young age for a dealership. And I actually rode a 1986 Suzuki RM250, a brand new one. We'll talk about that some other time too. But I like the two strokes. I like them old radial engines. My dad had a razor, electric razor. It was just about that size. Ain't that just a big old thing? Now you got to see this piston. See that? This is a brand new steel piston for this saw. You can tell by the size of my hand. This is for a 372 X torque. Look at that. Ain't that awful? Isn't that amazing? Now I've got to do a little port work to this and a little muffler mod for this guy. He really likes it, and it's that's going to be a challenge just for one reason. Everything is so tiny. And when I went to put my degree wheel on this the first time the other day, I was like, oh my God, I got to hang it off the bench. But, so there it is, buddy. This is what you're going to get, Duncan. Tiny little thing. Let's see what happens with it. I'm looking for good things out of it. Using it for a camp saw and one thing or another. And so that's good. Now, you guys like stories. I'm going to tell you one. And by God, I hope I can keep this short enough where I can actually load it because there's a lot to it. So let me hit the high spots. Uh, any of you want to get a hold of me for whatever, shoot me an email. I put them up in the videos occasionally. If you want to talk about a saw or something, I'll give you my phone number. We'll talk. If you have saw questions, I'll answer them. I got no problem with it. I'll hide nothing. I'll teach you anything I know. And if you want to know how I do something, I'll tell you. I ain't like a lot of these guys. This YouTube thing's new to me, so it'll probably bite me in the ass, but I don't care. I'm me. I do it my way. Okay, a lot of you probably already know that I've been in the military. I've been in the Army. I was in the 18th Airborne Corps, Rapid Deployment Force. And it was quite an experience. I was stationed at Fort Stewart, Georgia, and I was part of a pretty elite group. And I'm going to tell you something about medics. Every time you do your job, you get a medal, you get an award, you get a certificate, you get something. You go out with a unit, you got to prove yourself to them first. End of story. The way it is. This is life. I accept this. It's the way it ought to be. There ain't no bull crap about it then. Well, anyway, I got a military. Part of the whole deal is you get health care. And so I said, okay, great. A number of years ago, quite a number of years ago, actually, a tree got me. It got me pretty good. And it really messed my back up pretty bad. And both knees. I had to have 2 knee surgeries on my right knee to get it corrected because something about my foot turned around backwards, right there. And I dislocated this arm. It slid right up underneath. They were going to do surgery on that, and I said, no, you ain't telling me nothing. No, you pull on that. The doctor said, well, you can't stand it. I said, bull crap. I said, I told him, I said, I'm going to grab that doorknob. I can set it myself because I know how. That sucker, he doped me up with some morphine. He frickin' pulled on that, and he put that back in. Well, that was pretty bad. I got hit in the chest, probably 15 years before that with a chainsaw, so I knew how bad they felt. That was another rough one. Logging's one of them things. It ain't about if you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. It's just a matter of time. Playing with these saws is fun. I understand that. But realize what you're dealing with. We have the consistency as a human of a watermelon, okay? I ain't kidding you. Exactly what we are. And shove a few sticks in a friggin' watermelon and hit it with a chainsaw, and that's about what kind of damage you get. So anyway, it went on a number of years. They couldn't do anything about my back at the time and said it was too risky. I healed, went back to work, everything's good. Well, a few years ago, my back separated. And L5 to S1, which is right at the very bottom vertebrae, basically what it did is went forward 8 millimeters. And there's no disc there by this time or anything. Well, that puts a lot of pressure. And I ended up with sciatic nerve problems on my left leg. And I got where I couldn't even hardly walk. I couldn't feel my leg for 4 years. My foot, nothing. And it was more pain than the worst toothache I ever had. So if anybody ever tells you that they're having trouble with sciatic, there's no, oh gee, that degree isn't as bad as this other guy's. No, it's bad. It drives you out of your mind. And I wouldn't take the narcotics that they prescribed to me during the daytime. Being a medic, I knew what the deal was. That's a bad freaking train wreck. Once in a while, I'd take them at night just so I'd go to sleep, and I slept. So anyway, to make a long story short, I'm going to the VA. Doc, what can you do for me? Well, they're changing doctors at the local VA, like you wouldn't believe. And so you always got to get the next one up to speed. The next one, they send you to this clinic, and they send you to this hospital, and you see these other guys. And like I said, this ain't a funny story exactly. So, but it's something that happened, so I'm going to share it. So I couldn't get anything done about it, and they said the surgery is too risky and all this. Well, I tell you what, I got thinking about this, and I don't get into politics. I ain't a politician. I don't give a rat's butt about it. But we got a different president, obviously, and good or bad, that's what we got. I don't care what your opinions are. It doesn't matter to me. He did put something in place to try to help veterans. That's one thing. Okay, you got my attention there, mister. Thank you. In his hotline, he just started, and it wasn't even in place yet for veteran complaints. Well, I wasn't really complaining. It's just the fact I wanted something done. See, when you go from high speed, low drag to all of a sudden dead stop all at once, you get financial problems. The first thing you do is you sell your sawmill and a couple skidders and your dozer, and you sell property off, and you get through this. You lose your health insurance, so you can't afford to get surgery, and it's downhill. It's just plain downhill. And I was right down to the point of, we're just making it. What do I do? So I got pissed off. I called the White House, and this is a fact. I ended up getting on the phone with this retired Marine. Told him who I was, blah, 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 one thing, another. And he says, by God, we'll get something done about this right now. He says, they got 48 hours to answer you. All of a sudden, it wasn't 2 hours later, my local VA called me, Mr. Drake, blah, blah, blah. You know, what can we do to make this problem go away? And I said, well, I need help. Can you do something? And so they got pretty damn serious. And next thing you know, they're shipping me to the Bronx. Bib overhauls and all. Now, you know people with bib overhauls stand out in the Bronx. You know that? That's kind of a rough place. So here I am. I'm carrying a duffel bag right full of crap. So I didn't know what I needed. They said, oh, take no money with you. You ain't going to need that. Yeah, I said, okay, 400 ought to be enough then. So they put me in there. Now, a retired chief of naval surgery that volunteered his time at the hospital in the VA, and his team did my back surgery. They put rods in my low back, and they fixed me up. But going into that, they done the interviews, and they done the preliminaries, and said, Mr. Drake, you're overweight. One thing now, you need to lose 21 pounds in 10 days to do that surgery before you come down here. I didn't have a problem doing that. I didn't. I gave my dog away. No, I didn't even have a dog. That's not what happened. I killed it. I got my 10 pounds off I needed because I was severely overweight. I'm just damn fat now is all. It's coming off, but it didn't go on at once. It didn't go off at once. And so anyways, anesthesiologists. These are all military people, by the way, or ex-military is what they were. And the anesthesiologist, he's interviewing me, and he says, Mr. Drake, he says, you know, I know who you are. A lot of strings have been pulled to get you here. And this back surgery might not now go too good. Big risk. But you got a good doctor and you got a hell of a team, including me. And he said it point blank, and I expect that. And he says, what if it goes wrong? I said, look, I'm going to tell you something right now. The way my life is, I don't want to live. I says, it's not living anyway. So if something happens, I don't care. I says, if I wake up, great. Otherwise, I got eternal sleep. And I meant it. I had a pretty bad attitude about things. I really got down to the point with dealing with everything I had that I didn't care about people. I didn't care about nothing. And I couldn't even think it hurt so bad. I've never been so much pain in my life. So anyways, they get me in there. And of course, you know, they gotta do all kinds of really cool things. I'm laying on this table, and boy, next thing you know, I woke up. And I said, well, I'm alive. That's got to be something in it. And they got me in intensive care. You know how that works. Well, they told me they're going to keep me before the surgery 2 weeks. Minimum 2 weeks. I said, okay, I can handle that. And then you're going to have to go to rehabilitation, blah, blah, all this. I said, okay. I said, if this is what it takes, I'll endure. I'll do anything I got to do. I want my life back. I got it back, you noticed that, didn't you? So I says, I'm going to get out of that damn bed. And I said, you ain't going to keep me only about a week. I says, because I'm a poor patient. I was a good damn medic, but I'm a poor patient. I do. Me in hospitals. So anyway, I wake up. Man, I'm going to tell you one thing I do. I like morphine. I was pain-free. That's not the most important thing. I could feel my left foot. I could feel my toes. And doctors come in, and I told him, he says, you shouldn't be able to. I said, I'm telling you, I can feel my toes. So he did tactile sensation, blah, blah, blah. And he said, my God, you can. He said, okay, now, he said, you can't screw it up. So we're going to keep you probably 3 weeks. So anyways, that ended up, I was thinking to myself, no, you ain't. Now, I'm going to tell you, in the last year, I've made a lot of difference in my opinion. Some of it's to do with Buck and Billy. I'll tell you that straight out. He talked me through some of this. He was a big help to me. And some of you guys did. And I appreciate it. I thank you. I'm turning back into who I used to be, is what it is. It's not going to be easy, but I'm doing it. And I'm getting a different attitude. I had a reason that I didn't care for Muslims, okay? It wasn't about their religion. I don't care about that. Just believe me, I had a reason. So anyway, I ended up with this Muslim RN named Mahmoud. And he didn't give a rat's butt if I was there or not. I was just another body. Well, here I am the first night there in that hospital. I tell you what, I couldn't even move. And they came around with the pain meds because they wanted. I said, nope, I don't want them. I'm going to tell you what, when that morphine wore off, I wanted something. You wouldn't believe what it was like to kick off of them frickin' pain pills right then. Because I knew sooner or later I was going to the bathroom and I don't pee no cup. You know, but I knew other things were going to move too. So, ended up 24 hours after surgery, uh, I I rang the buzzer. That was Mahmoud. He came over and kind of like, what? I gotta go to the bathroom. He went and got me. No, you ain't give me that tray. No, that ain't gonna happen. Nope. I'm getting up. He knew I couldn't get up. I says, you got a walker right there. I says, you push that walker over me and I'll figure it out. And he says, you doubtful you can even move for 4 days. I said, you give me that. You put that damn side of that bed down. He said, if you prove to me you can sit up, I'll put the side down. Okay. So I did it. I wrestled that frickin' hospital bed, and that bed never slept. All it did was kept moving all night. I never got any rest. I couldn't eat the food down there. It was horrible. I literally couldn't. I could eat a dead woodchuck's been in the sun 3 days. I could not eat that food. And they, about the third day there, they said, well, you're going to have chicken, roast chicken and mashed potatoes. I was like, oh my God, I can eat that. So I went 3 days with no food, and they brought that. I mean, tell you, I was looking forward to that. When I opened that little lid there, that chicken was weird gray green. It looked like it died an unnatural death. I tried to eat it. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get any of the food down. So anyway, back to Mahmoud. I swung my legs off of that frickin' hospital bed, and he blew a horrified look on this man. Now, I tell you what, I give this guy credit. And I grabbed, from so many years there, several years of half of everything I do, I'm holding myself with my arms. I had pretty good upper body strength, still do. And I grabbed that walker and I stood up. And I realized that my legs weren't going to stay under me. They were not. And Mahmoud had this horrified look, and he says, if you go down, we both go down. And I know what that meant. He wasn't supposed to let me do that, but he bargained with the devil. So I learned how to shuffle along, and I'm pushing this walker, and I got in there, and Mahmoud says, you need some help? Was your down? I said, no, man, I got this thing. Well, I'm going to tell you what, I'm a big guy. Even if I'm skinny, I'm a big guy. Everything, all them gowns were extra small, and they had holes in them, because they don't have very good stuff down there. It was a good facility, though, and they had good people. And I appreciate that, and I thank all of you that's watching that. I know if you are, but so what? I thank you anyway. So anyway, I done my business, and I didn't have to pee no cup. So I get out of there. Well, I'll tell you what, the fourth day, they told me that, well, it was the third day, they told me that I had to prove I could walk around the corridor before they'd let me home. Well, you know, you gotta fool a physical therapist to do that. So I says, okay, fine, we'll play that game. Man, every step was horrible. I was holding myself, and I'm running the wheels off this walker. And I'll tell you what, I was going at least a quarter mile an hour. And she says, you okay, you okay? Yeah, about the second time we did that. I said, I'm going home. She said, well, not. She says, you won't go home until I say you can. The doctors are okay with it, but it's up to me. I said, okay. Well, I said, let's go for it. She said, you got to walk all the way around the corridors twice. If you can do that, she says, I'll release you. And I says, okay. And so I did it. And I thought, well, hell, I'm on a roll here. I was already in agony. I might as well just keep it going. I started around third time. She says, Mr. Drake, she says, are you up to that? She said, you want to stop and rest? I said, why? I said, are you tired? No. She said, so anyway, what happened is they decided, against their better judgment, I was a bad patient. I didn't want to be there, and I knew I'd be better off at home. So they got me an Uber driver, and I walked about a mile with that walker. The Uber driver met me in a room, and he got my duffel bag and one thing and another, and I was dressed. And so we get outside, and there's this blind woman with a seeing eye dog, and she's very, very pale color, real light blonde hair. Her eyes were almost white. and a taxi driver had dropped her off. Mahmood was being, or not Mahmood, but my Uber driver. I can't remember his name. He's a hell of a nice guy. She was trying to get in the building. Now I'd have thought that taxi driver would have at least got out and helped her, because the dog didn't know where to go. He'd never been there before. So my Uber driver got her in the building. He says, you can get in the van. So I'm looking at this minivan. I got this walker, and he'd already put my bag in. And I was like, wow, this ain't going to work. And so anyway, I managed to get in that front seat of that van. He did, so wow, he says, you got in there. That's something else. You know, they didn't even roll me in a wheelchair to the door. And I didn't care if they did or not. I got halfway there, and they realized I didn't even sign my freaking papers to release me. They had to run me down. And so we did it. So anyway, they sent me to my local VA. And I got in there, and the first thing they trying to do is put me in the old folks part of it, and where they put the dying patients, and they were going to throw me back in the hospital bed. I go, oh no. I says, I just crawled out of a hospital bed in New York City. I'm not going back in one here. And I threw a fit. Well, would you believe there was a nurse that was a chief in Naval Reserves, and she called maintenance, pulled a favor, and they went and got me a regular hospital bed, the old style. It was like a bed. That was good enough for me. Got it put in the room. Next morning, my brother and his wife, they came over to visit, and one thing and the other. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to be here about 2 months, is what they told me. And I wasn't, because I'm a bad patient. Anyway, this nurse came in on duty, and she says, Mr. Drake, she says, you got your bed way too high. Well, I had to, because I had my walker stationed off to the side of it, and I had to have it where that my legs kind of hit the ground kind of straight to be able to stand up at all to go to the bathroom. I ain't peed no cup yet, and I ain't about to, okay? This is the way it is. So I went ahead and I said, okay. She put that bed all the way down, and she locked the controls out on the foot of it so I couldn't use them. And I rang the buzzer, and another nurse came, no, we have orders, we can't. I said, okay, fine, I'll play this silly game. And I told her, I says, you gotta remember, I'm the veteran here, you ain't. I said, you need to know that. I said, this ain't gonna go good for you. So the next shift come on, here comes that nurse that's a Navy chief in the reserves, and I told her what happened. And I said, and I'll tell you another thing. I says, what doctor's on duty? Well, same one last night. I says, you might as well just tell him right now that get the paperwork, I'm going home. I'm signing out. And she says, are you sure? I says, I ain't doing this. No, I don't like the way I've been treated. And I didn't put no complaint in the VA, okay? I figured whatever happened for a reason, but that nurse did tell me she's doing this crap all the time. I heard that they fired her, but not for me. And I didn't care. I wanted home. So I went home. And I was against Barbara and Colin's better judgment. And Barbara says, I can't take care of you. You fall, I can't get you up. And Colin says, I can. So I'll tell you what. I spent some time thinking about who I was and who I was going to be. Well, that's how I found Buck and Billy's channel. There was a saw sharpening thing. And I said, well, this joker frickin' ain't never going to teach me nothing about frickin' sharpening no saw. As I'd watched some of them before, and ain't none of them any good. And I found out this is a tree guy. He's a logger. And I'm going to tell you what, he's spot damn on. And believe me, he had my attention. Well, he had a couple more videos. I subscribed. I left a comment once. Somebody was having some kind of a bad thing with their back surgery thing. And I commented, well, don't worry, it gets better. Told him my situation. Well, that's where somewhere Bucking got a hold of me. We started talking and texting. Now, this is where we're at. I'm so grateful to Buck and Billy and any of you, all of you here, guaranteed, and any of you who left a comment on my situation back then. It's helped me. And it's changed my life. You know that. I have a debt that I can never pay Bucking. And you know what's cool? He don't expect that. That ain't him. Uh, and I want to thank all of you for being here with me. We're at 89 subscribers right now. That's enough for me. I I got people I'm getting to know good. Uh, I've got saws coming in. I got enough putter work to keep me occupied, and I'm doing better all the time. It's been a little over a year. We got writing videos coming up. We're editing, and that some of them were last fall. Now remember, last fall I didn't have any balance, none. Now when I got on a bike, things were different, which you'll see. And a few times I just tuck right off and left everybody. And it's because flying's freedom, okay? I mean it. And you can get that on a bike. Don't need an airplane. And they're always better in the air. They are not meant to be on the ground, you know. They just ain't. But thank all of you for watching. By God, I hope I can upload this, because I am so damn proud to know Bucket Billy and all of you. And thank you.